Before we start, if anybody's interested, we are live streaming the performance tonight. So if you've got family or friends who are unable to make it and you want to let them know, all they need to do is go to the Platteville School District webpage, go down to the bottom corner of the main webpage. There are icons down at the bottom. One of them is a YouTube icon. All they have to do is click that. And then when they get to the YouTube page, they just click live through the top, and they should be able to find that concert link. Hey, thank you once again for joining us tonight. If you know a little bit about that song, that's Rossini, probably most famous for Barber of Seville, if any of you've heard that one before. But this one was a story. It's the opening overture to the opera. But if you know anything about the story, it's about a maid that's accused of stealing, but it actually ended up being a bird stealing this silver away, and nobody knew it. And all of a sudden, the bird was caught by the end. So one of those interesting things. The funny thing about that piece of music, though, is Rossini finished it the night of just the day of the opening performance, and they were waiting for him to complete it. So they actually locked him in a room and said, "You're not leaving until you finish it." And they were throwing, he would have to throw his music out the window so people could transcribe it for the orchestra. It's kind of a funny story, so definitely worth looking up. The next song that we're doing is actually a Wisconsin folk song called The Pinery Boy, which was arranged by Carrie Lane Grussell. These first two were, she's such a fantastic writer, so it's great to be able to promote the music that she's arranging and making, and she made a wonderful version of The Pinery Boy, so I hope you enjoy that. Okay, now the students are going to just around, and I'm going to talk to you just quickly about what this next few songs are all about. One of the things is as you know, a lot of us in the music department have been working towards our master's degree, and there are certain things that we pick up when we're at college. And one of the fun things that I took was this class called creativity. And, you know, I thought to myself, what is this class about? Creativity. What, you know, all different things. So we discussed many different ways that we could bring something different to the classroom. And so this next thing that I asked the students to do is we picked a painting, and I gave 10 different paintings to pick from. And the students, what they did is, and I kind of left it open to them, and I said, what does this painting mean to you and your group? Talk about that, just decide. How would you portray that in music? And so we've been since January, if you can believe that. I know that seems like a long period of time, but it's kind of been simmering and you know, boiling over and being creative as it go through. But there was so much involved in this, with first deciding what they're going to do with the music. Then, second of all, what that picture meant to them and threw those ideas in, and how would the music represent that, and then assemble it into a piece of music. And basically the main rules I gave is first of all, you got to decide as a group what you're going to do. Second of all, it's got to be about 2 minutes long. Okay, so you're going to kind of hear what has come to fruition here with these songs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put that painting up on the white screen right here, okay? And then they're going to tell you about it. So I'm going to hand the mic off to the first group here, but I'm going to ask the group to wait about 30 seconds while I get it up on the computer.
Okay, so hello and good evening. Tonight our chamber ensemble will be performing the 5 stages of grief. We connected our chosen artwork to this topic because the combination and melding of colors in this abstract work reminded us of the turmoiling emotions one experiences while grieving. This will be performed by Lizzie Ringberg and Lynette Feldman on cello, Annie Pennekamp and myself, Ellen Cornett, on viola, Cash Peterson as our lone second violin, and Nandini Chauhan, Kelsey Klein, and Mara Larson as first violins. Please enjoy our composition.
Hello. So first we'll be starting off with introductions for this group.
I'm Clara Killian.
Maria Nate.
Aiden Amin.
Cece Killian. Elena Barth. Maisie Light.
Ankitsa Montgomery.
Morgan Hansen.
So the name of our song is Solter Tristes Lunam Lucem, which essentially translates from Latin to dancing in the moonlight, or particularly in the sad moonlight. The main reason for this song is, well, as you can see, it's mainly a lot of blues, blacks, and if you can see those two figures there in the rain, we mainly decided that this picture invokes a feeling of sorrow, sadness, longing, heartbreak, and we're going to be doing a waltz to, I guess, signify that, and we will be ending on a melancholy note. Thank you for coming out tonight, and we hope that you enjoy the song. Thank you.
Our piece is called Es Fuego because the picture we chose reminds us of fire. The outside is calm and it gets more chaotic towards the center of the piece. We represented this in our music by having a slow cello melody with a suspenseful transition to a faster violin melody at the end.
There we go. All right. Hello. My name is Miles Zhang, and the people in this wonderful group are
Michael Lerner. Sarah Dreger.
Jeremiah Tulsi.
Lillian Montgomery.
Jameson Coffee.
Brian Richter, and whatever creaky board I'm standing on right now.
and Miles Zhang. Today, we will be playing Elemental Clash, composed by us. In our painting, we saw two elements, fire and water, clashing into this disastrous but oddly beautiful piece. So we hope that you will be able to identify what parts of our song convey water, what convey fire, and what conveys the disastrous but oddly beautiful clash.
Okay, I'm hoping that when you saw those paintings, you were thinking about different things. I'm sure we all see abstract paintings like that in different ways and probably thought, no, that's not fire and water to me, but it might be something else, right? So it's fun to see what came to their minds and what decision they made and what direction they went and just that extra work. And really, it's more of a team building exercise, being creative as a group, which, are these life skills that we talk about a lot in with society past high school, right? So can you give an extra hand and a round of applause to all the extra work that these students put in? I can tell you for a fact that some of these students really love doing this and some of them not so much. But once again, you can see the final result, right? It's fantastic, this extra stuff that they have done. Okay, second thing I do want to point out before we finish up with our end, I do want to remind you there's a few things in the program. First of all, have you noticed there's some upcoming concerts? We're kind of the beginning of the final round of concerts. So next week is the middle school band concert, which will be down at the middle school. It's also Monday night. Then following that is the strings concert, 5 through 8. That is Thursday night. That will also be here. Friday night, if you have students in 7th and 8th grade, we have Large Group Festival, which is the middle school Large Group Festival, which is going to be hosted down at the middle school from 4 to roughly 8:30, so double check those times. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I can send you that sheet if any of you are interested in watching those groups that day. And then following that, you can kind of see it. I won't list them all off. They're a bunch of concerts. So please come out, join us. We would love to have you, or we'll try to be live streaming as many as we possibly can. Third thing, I do want to remind you, we have a wonderful boosters organization. If you want to be part of it, we would love to have you join, whether you give us some time, give us some volunteer work. We do need some help with the Large Group Festival. I don't know if all those slots are filled yet, but we will have things coming up in the future, so we would love to have you on that also. But if you would like to be part of that organization and have some say in some of the things that help support our groups, that would be the perfect group to be part of as far as the music department is concerned. So please think about joining them. And to go along with that, Culver's tonight, if you go to Culver's, just mention Music Boosters, and they will donate 10% back to the Music Boosters, which helps support sending students on field trips, lunches, things like that. So once again, think about being part of that. The last thing I'm going to mention before we wrap up our last song here is I do want to mention we have some seniors. This is going to be their last performance with us. And once again, these are 5 seniors that have been with me for 8 long years. I'm sure they're thinking that, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But I do want to mention that they have been fantastic leaders. Once again, they've given up a lot of time, put in a lot of work helping other students, just supporting them through these last 8 years. And once again, just really being good leaders. And I'm hoping that carries over when they go to either college or if they go into the workforce right away. Whatever they decide to do, that will help them grow and strengthen as students. So I'm going to mention these students once again, hopefully in alphabetical order I do it in. Aiden Amin is one of our seniors. Elena Barth, another one of our seniors in the viola section. Clara Killian over here in our violin section. Maria Nates over here also in our violin section. And then Miles Zhang in our cello section. Once again, those are seniors. I'm going to miss them greatly. 8 years, and when they leave, it's different. It's a change of pace, right? But at the same realm, I really hope that they pursue their dreams and go farther, and just take advantage of what they've got going with them here, especially through the Platteville School District. We have such a fantastic staff here and just resources and administration. So, and appreciate the teachers that are here tonight and administrators. So thank you once again for being here. So we are going to finish with Brios, which is the Cold North Wind. It's a representative. It's kind of a fantasy piece. So hopefully you kind of hear that through that. Kind of like you heard through the music that was just performed from the students. Thank you once again for coming in. The band will be right after us.
Hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Kevin Cooley. I have the pleasure of being the director of bands here. We kind of wanted to shoot you out of a cannon right at the beginning, so we hope you enjoyed that. That was Vaquero by Sammy Nestico. It's a very interesting piece because Sammy Nestico is famously a jazz composer. He did write for the concert band, but he was very, very famous for jazz. What's really interesting about it, though, is he wrote almost nothing about that piece. It's about 3 sentences talking about how he wanted you to interpret the articulation pattern, and that's it. It's kind of up to you how to interpret it. When we actually asked the students before we learned this piece what they saw when they listened to this, and it was a split between a Western, or some people heard it as like a parade of, like an army parade or something like that, something victorious. So it's kind of interesting between the two. This next piece is very different. It's called Ash by Jennifer Jolly. This piece is a reflection of something that actually happened in Jennifer's life. She grew up in Southern California. She had an experience that a lot of us Wisconsinites can appreciate. She was sitting in kindergarten, and she looked out the window, and it was snowing. It was snowing, and as you can imagine how excited she was. But here's the problem. It was Southern California. It doesn't snow in Southern California. And that's, as she went released to recess, and as you can imagine, just an army of little kids being super excited about the snow. Well, it was actually ash from a forest fire. And so at the time, she was really excited, just childhood wonder, you know how it is. And as she got older, she realized that that memory was not what she remembers it being. So this piece uses a technique called polytonality, where you'll hear major or happy sounds and minor or sad sounds simultaneously, because it's both memories at the same time. It's really, really interesting. And it's an interesting test for you. Which way does your ear go, the happy or the sad sounds? We hope you enjoy Ash. Before we play our final piece, I just want to recognize a few things. First of all, I want to thank any teachers or administrators who are here. Thank you very much. We appreciate your support so much. After this concert, if you feel like going to Culver's, which I assume some people will like to go to Culver's, please make sure you mention the Music Boosters because they'll get 10% of the proceeds, and we really appreciate that. I also want to recognize that this last weekend we had State Solo Ensemble. If you were a participant in State Solo Ensemble, could you raise your hand and could we just recognize all the hard work you put in? We're so fortunate to have State Solo Ensemble here in Platteville. There's schools that drove hours and hours and hours away. It's so great that we have this in our town and so many students that participate every year. I would also like to take a second to recognize our seniors. So as I'm reading their names, if you guys can stand or wave if you're standing already, and if we could recognize them together, that would be great. And so in no particular order, Rael Dye, Mara Weber, Jasmine Feldman, Noah Felder, Clarissa Sexton, Megan Hall, Tate Zilke, Elena Barth, Carter Bradley, Lucas Adrian, Lexi Shea, Eliana Davis, Dylan Pink, Bianca Paler. Can we please recognize this group for all their contributions? I tell the kids every year it's hard because I have to say goodbye to the seniors like 10 times, and this is the beginning of the long stretch of me saying goodbye to them over and over again. This final piece that we're going to play for you is called "The Cave You Fear." It's a fragment. It's based on the fragment of the quote, "The cave you fear holds the treasure you seek." And the person who composed it is actually not a music guy. He got a film degree from University of Southern California School of Film, which is a very famous school of film. And he realized that by learning how to compose the music, he had a greater control over the entire art form, the medium of film. And so he wrote this with basically no compositional background, and it is fantastic. But you can tell he's a film guy. He wrote some weird stuff in here, and I want to highlight some of it. Saxophones, can you do the thing? Go ahead. Beautiful, beautiful. The percussionists have they're called super ball mallets. Can you guys hold some of those up? It's a bouncy ball on the end of a peg. Yeah. We just have a lot of just weird, cool stuff in this because that's what he wanted. He wanted it to sound this particular way. And so I really hope that you'll allow yourself to go on a journey of whatever you see this being. It's very, very vivid. And thank you again tonight for coming out and enjoying our concert. That concludes our concert. If you could please help us with putting things away, we would greatly appreciate it. Again, mention Music Boosters at Culver's if you go tonight, and have a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much.